Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I've been talking to you about the similarities and the differences between instruments, and so today what I decided to do, and I started last segment but I couldn't finish it of course, I want to show you pictures of the major instruments so I can show you in picture form what the similarities are between them and what the differences are. Now we know, and I've talked to you about this before, that a lot of the instruments finger pretty much alike. That's one similarity. Another similarity is the shape and the size of them, and another similarity is the fact that the mouthpieces and how the mouthpieces are formed, because a lot of the instruments that do not have reeds have mouthpieces that are very similar. They're called Fipple mouthpieces, at least for the recorders. Other instruments have very similar ways of structuring the mouthpiece so people can play them. And usually you can transfer a lot of the information you have about one instrument to another instrument. You know, I have a good 135, 40, maybe 150 now instruments, most of them which I play. I certainly haven't taken lessons on 150 instruments. I've taught a lot of various instruments. There are instruments that I just transfer what I know from one instrument to another instrument, and the fingering patterns just come natural to me. I can figure it out if I'm not sure. The way that you blow, the way that you tongue is very similar for a lot of them. So I play a lot of instruments that have not had formal training in. But of course, what makes up for that is the major instruments that I have had formal training in. And I'm talking about flute, saxophone, clarinet, some bassoon, some oboe, piano. So it's not like I lack training in music, and I've had a lot of theory courses, and I've written stuff, and I've taught, and so forth. So you can transfer a lot of that knowledge. It goes into various instruments, and it's interesting to see what they're like and what they do. And I buy a lot of instruments just simply because I like them, and I want to see if they play. And if they don't play, how can I make them play? And people have given me a lot of instruments. They say, I can't make this work. I can't make this work. I'll pick it up and I make it work. And they say, how did you do that? Well, I transferred knowledge that I've had in general of instruments and applied it in such a way that I can figure out how an instrument works. Now, not all instruments work. Some of them don't. But I buy some according to their color, or I want to teach something from them. And even if an instrument doesn't work well, I can usually teach from it. It has something that it can show us, and that adds to your knowledge of music. So I'm going to start off today and show you the pictures that I have of various instruments. And I did a lot of this on a photocopy machine, and sometimes it's hard to do pictures of instruments on a photocopy machine because they tend to roll around on the glass. And I didn't want to have all my instruments with hand imprints around them, holding them in place. So I would put a towel or something like that, cover them, a washcloth maybe, a small towel, different colors, and I would hold them from behind that and try to position them in some way that you would get the best pictures of them. So that's what I've done, and I have a group of them here, and I'm using this as a teaching tool to show you about music and about instruments in general, specifically the woodwinds and specifically the instruments that don't have reeds on them, because that's basically what I'm teaching you. So let's start off, and I have my first picture here of a recorder. This is a green recorder, if we can get a shot of that. Yeah, good. And the others will be in the same position. This is a green recorder. I'm holding it. I did shorten it up because it's a full-size recorder, and I want to show you some things like this here would be, this whole thing here would be the head joint, and it would have a little square here, which is actually a labium. This little square itself is called a window, and then it slants out, although I don't think you're going to be able to see that. A full-size recorder. This would be the body right here, and this would be a foot joint. It's interesting to mention that some instruments you can pull them apart into the parts, and some of them you can't. Now here's a picture also of a recorder, and I bought this, it's yellow. and I let it have the black background. There's no way I could cover it with anything, and I held it on the bottom. And the reason I bought this was because I was hoping you'd be able to see through it. If you're able to see through it, you can see that basically it's a tube with nothing, but there are some structures in here, and I'm going to have to go over that a little later. But at any rate, it's an instrument that you can see through. It's very pretty. I like it very much. I'm going to skip this. It's a fingering chart for an instrument that came from Korea. But I put it in there, but I'm not going to use it right now. Here's another one. This is a small one. This is full size, by the way. I bought this from Wendy's. It's a small recorder. It does play, and it plays in 2 octaves. It's not exactly in pitch, but it's not bad for its size and the fact that it was, I think, free or maybe $1 or something. And here's your head joint, and here's your body. Here's your foot joint. It has all of the tone holes in the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just as it's supposed to. It's like a miniature recorder. And here you have the labium, a little slant area, and you have a window right there. It does play, and this is the Fipple mouthpiece, and you blow in here. It's actually quite nice for an instrument that costs nearly nothing. The only thing is it's not in traditional pitch. And I put it on its side. Reason I want you to see what it looks like. Here's the labium over here. It's on its side, and you can see how the mouthpiece swings up, and here are the different parts as I showed before. You've seen it all a lot because I have recorders in here. Here's another picture of it, and I tried to lay it flat so that you would see the back side of it. And here's a tone hole. And it's actually the thumb hole that you use for octaves, and for some notes you have to use it. Other notes you don't have to use it. Here's the back of the mouthpiece, and it slants up. It has a little curve to it. You don't see the labium, but you blow in right here. This is really quite nice. I didn't know they made, it was a special of something that they made. And when I saw a child playing with it, I knew I had to have it myself. I never grew up. Here we have a penny whistle. This is a penny whistle in the key of G. You can get them in different colors. I like this because it's brass, and it's a gold color with a plastic top. The mouthpiece, you can't pull these apart. They're single unit, and they have to stay that way. But the mouthpiece is similar to that of a recorder, and this recorder, as I said, is miniature size. That is full size. And this is full size too, so there's not a whole big difference in the size of it. But here's your labium. You have a little lip right here. You have that window. It's a narrower top. The mouthpiece is narrower, not as wide as what the recorder is, and it's all brass with a plastic mouthpiece. Now you can get silver with blue mouthpieces, or you can have green mouthpiece on the brass like this. So they do come in different sizes and different colors depending upon the key that you want. Now on this one here again, I'm showing the back side, the thumb hole. There is no thumb hole in the back of a penny whistle. There's none on the back of a sasuto, and there are other instruments that do not have a tone hole or a thumb hole in the back, but the recorders do. And you get a good comparison of the mouthpieces here. This is kind of tall, you might say, and thin. This is conical, and this is wider. That's just the way they're built. And of course, they have a different kind of sound. So what causes the sound to be as it is? The sounds of the instruments are different, even if they're the same size, even if they're about the same shape, even if they finger the same, they have the same kind of finger arrangement for the fingerboards, and you may finger them very much alike, but the differences in the sound is based upon what they're made out of. You can see this is going to be made out of brass, this is going to be made out of plastic. It does make a considerable difference in the way that they sound. Here are the same two. I intended to have a space between them, but they managed to be together. But that's good because you see the sides of them. Here's the labium, the mouthpiece, and you see a considerable difference in the size of the mouthpiece because that mouthpiece swings down to about here. However, the shape of them is similar, even though they're a different size. They have a similar function, they have a similar shape, and of course this is smaller. It's in the key of G. It's the one I showed you before. It's probably the smallest one I've got. These are sweet tones. They're called sweet tones. They're made by Clark's company, and I do have some of the Clark's flutes and penny whistles. But they are conical. They come to a point. I didn't get the whole thing in, but the mouthpieces are very much like the mouthpieces of the penny whistle, because basically they are a penny whistle, but conical, narrowing as they go down. And the red one and the green one, they're both in the key of D, actually, and I have both of them, and they're softer toned because of the mouthpieces being a little bit smaller, but they're good. They're nice instruments. Here they are again. You can see the fact they do come to a point, and they're conical. If they don't come to a point, they're the same size all the way down. They're called cylindrical. These two are the mouthpieces on the side. They're just like any penny whistle mouthpiece. They look a lot like the recorder mouthpieces, and they play a lot like the recorder mouthpieces, but they're very, very nice instruments, and they are made in England. The Clark's company makes its instruments in England, and so I have that. I have some of the other Clark's instruments as well. Now, this is a Shaw's instrument, and it's in the key of E flat. This is different. You don't have so much of a lip there, but you do have that window, and it's all silver. It's pointed, and it's just straight across, and this is the mouthpiece. One single unit, and I don't know if you would be able to get close enough to see that it just says Shaw on the outside. That's a company that made it. It is definitely a conical instrument. You see how narrow it is. On the bottom, it's like a little pinpoint, and here it's much wider. Easy to play. It has a little bit of a tinny sound because it's all metal, no plastic in it at all. Some of the instruments do have a plastic body and a metal mouthpiece, but that's not the case here. This is the same instrument, and I have it. You can see how the mouthpiece goes up. This is a wooden plugged instrument. I don't know if you'd be able to tell from the camera or not, but there's a little layer of wood here. That's the block, and you blow in it, and the air goes to the front of that block, and the labium is over here. But they all have that kind of slanted appearance in the back, and it comes to a point. It's silvery. It really looks nice. I don't know if you realize or not, but silver is the most reflective metal that you can get in jewelry. So a lot of people love silver jewelry because it reflects light. It reflects it even better than gold does. Here's another picture of the back of it. And you can see the wooden plug right here. It's kind of beige color. That's wood. The mouthpiece on the other side, you blow on the top, and it comes to that point, which I didn't have room to put it all in. But that's a conical instrument, and it's the Shaw's instrument. I'm not sure where it's made. Here is an end-blown flute. I've had it in before. It doesn't look at all like it's got a mouthpiece. It looks just like a simple tube. And it is a simple tube, but there is a mouthpiece, and I'll show it to you in a minute. When I got it on the photocopier, it had trouble holding steady. I eventually just had to hold it there and keep it in position to keep it from rolling. It's made out of wood. It's a very nice instrument. I've gotten lately, so I've gotten really fascinated by these instruments that are end blown, because it's an odd way that you play them. You don't put them in your mouth. You put them up to your lips, and you cover the little line and the little slit that you have air in. You just cover it with your mouth, and it blows out. Let me show this to you. Now, The labium is in the back. It's the same instrument. The back doesn't have the decorations that the front does. They only decorate it on the front. But the labium is in the back. The mouthpiece is just a little slit that you blow. All of the tone holes are in the front. So you're blowing it up here. The air is coming out here. The fingers are what would appear here like they're in the back, but they're actually the front of it because this is the back of the instrument. But it has a really, really nice tone. This is it right here. This is, if you can see, I don't know if you can see that mouthpiece. You may not be able to see it. I have a picture of it anyway. Maybe I should just show the picture of it. But if you look at it, this is the back of the instrument. This is the front of the instrument. This front has all of the tone holes and all of the decorations. And the back of it has the labium and no decorations. And then you just blow into it and the air comes out. It's like the opposite side. I'm going to turn this over. And here is the mouthpiece. I decided to stick the instrument just like this on the photocopier, put toweling around it, and keep the top of it up, and just press the button and hope to get a picture of it, and I did. This is the mouthpiece. This here is going to look like a block. It's part of the block. You blow in here. You actually put your mouth over this. You blow in it, and then the air comes out of the back of the instrument where the labium is, which won't show on that picture, but it shows right here. And then your fingering is in the front. Now this is kind of odd. I'm not used to playing anything like that, but it is a nice instrument. There's nothing wrong with it. It plays well, and I like it. I like different unusual things. Now here's an ocarina. And even though this is a small instrument, if you look at it, you have a labium right here. There's a little lip, that place that slants in right here. You blow in from a slit that's on the top of it, and then you have your fingers right here, and I have it with me. And there's some tone holes in the back. So if I were to play it, I would play it. I don't know if you can catch this or not, but I had trouble getting the top of it, but there's a little slit right on the top. Okay, and it slants down here, and then here's your labium in the front. It's really plays on the same principle as the recorders do, the exact same principle. You have tone holes in the front, and you're going to have to use two hands to play it. And then in the back, you have a tone hole. It's actually a thumb hole, and another little hole beside it. So it very much operates on the same way as a recorder operates, with that little slit in the front, holding it like this. Now there are some ocarinas that you can buy. This is made out of wood. This is not awfully expensive, but there are some ocarinas that you can buy that are very, very expensive. Let me just put this, whoops. Here's the back side of it. And you can see on the top of it, I don't know if it's darker colored, you might not be able to pick it up if you can get a shot. But that's the top of it, and there would be a slit on top of there. Now, and here's the back side of it. I tried to show the slit. That one didn't come out too good, but it gives you an idea of what it's like. The other thing, it's harder to photocopy instruments that are darker in color. They don't come out as clear. Here's, whoops, a flutophone. This flutophone, you can see the mouthpiece is very much like a penny whistle mouthpiece or a recorder mouthpiece. Your little labium right here, and you blow from the front. There's a little lip here. It does have a bell on it, and here it is. Okay, on this flutophone. And you can find there's a little raised area beside 3 of the notes on one side and beside 4 of the notes on the other side. And the reason it does show here a little raised area in these 3 notes, and you don't see it so well, but the other notes have it on the other side. And it just tells you where to position your hands. So your left hand goes on top, you just follow those little raised areas, and your right hand on the board, on the bottom. It is a very nice instrument. It's not really a toy. A lot of people use it as a toy, but it has usually a pretty good tone and pretty well in pitch. This is the back of it. It does have a tone hole in the back, a place for your thumb, your right thumb, a place for your left thumb. This is the thumb hole in the back. And of course, it's only colored as far as the mouthpiece is concerned in the front. You don't see that color in the back. And they come black with white, white with black trim, or white with red trim. And this picture of it I just took from a box that it came in and photocopied the box. You can see the raised areas right here. The mouthpieces is just like any other Fipple mouthpiece. It does have a bell on the bottom. If an instrument has a bell, and I'll close it just with this comment and continue with it next time. If an instrument has a bell, it's harder to photocopy, because if you want to take an instrument like this and lay it on a photocopier, part of it is going to be tilted up because of the bell. It's not going to be able to lay completely flat. You get a lot better pictures if you have an instrument that lays completely flat, which you cannot do with a bell. And also, if it's dark colored, it's hard to get it because you're likely to get more black smudges. So when it comes to sassotos, tonettes, and song flutes, I usually end up by having to draw them instead because it's hard to photocopy them. Well, why don't I close it right here? We have very little time left, and I'm going to continue with this and try to finish this next time because the rest of the instruments are fascinating. I'll just take as much time as I need in order to complete this so you get a real view of what the similarities and differences of instruments are. So we'll close it here. Please join me next time.